Hello everybody, today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Now in the last episode, we saw some countries expanding and more colonizing happen, but the most important event is Sweden invading Finland, and then the Diamond Alliance declaring war on the Triangle Alliance, and the Finnish, which resulted in the Square Alliance declaring war on these two, and then these two decided to duke it out for some reason. I don't really know why, but anyways, in this scenario, we're going to see which countries collapse, what countries gain stronger, and what countries just fall apart. And, well, this is known as World War. So, yeah. Anyways, countries are going to join sides, such as the blue teams and the green teams. These countries are going to go ahead and both form, or they're going to join the Triangle Alliance to mostly just wipe out the Sicilians, who have been a threat towards both of these countries in the past, whether that's been through Tunisia or it's been through Catalonia or even these islands. Yeah, these guys have been a threat for a long time. The Triangle Alliance is also going to go ahead and add Yemen down here. And they also even add Iran, which is not good because, well, now the Ottomans have to worry about another front right here. So do these guys. But then the rhombuses, or not the rhombuses, the diamonds are going to invite another person in Iran, and that will be this blue country right here. So basically, this is a big Iranian, uh, not good thing. Anyways, let's start the fight. Back where the war started over here in Finland, we see that the Russians are going to be swiftly invading and taking a lot and a lot of land over from the Finnish. But the Swedish kind of realizing that the impending, well, not the impending doom, but that the Russians are swarming through, the Swedish are going to do the same exact thing, and they take the capital of the Finnish, and this pretty much just wipes them out into three pieces, and they all individually surrender. I did not want it to do that like that. Hold on. And the Russians also start moving into the Swedish puppet state right here, threatening the capital, or not the puppet state, the vassal state. But anyways, they threat the capital until the Swedish troops finally arrive to stop them. And well, yeah, there we go. Now we have a stalemate on this front right here. Let's take a look at this front. Well, the Russians were doing very good in mobilizing a lot of their troops, and they start pouring into the Brown team, taking a major city immediately. And they storm in also from the Lime team, who's of course helping them as they're in the same alliance, and they capture this major city right here. But anyways, the Russians are going to storm through from pretty much all sides. In fact, they do. And well, they're getting very close to a big major city in the center of the Brown team. This is kind of like Poland slash Belarus, but Poland was more over here, so I guess Belarus. Or also Lithuania, if you really think about it. But also includes some parts of Russia. I don't know what to call this. Coming over here to Tunisia, we see that these guys have just, well, yeah, they take back Tunisia. They've wanted Tunisia back for pretty much as long as they have been back, you know. Well, there's only one, well, there's technically two, because there was used to be a lime team right here, and there used to be an orange team right here. Um, they were there at the start of the series, but the countries that were here at like episode 1 was the green team, the blue team, the red team, the purple team, the orange team, which doesn't exist, the lime team, which doesn't exist, and then the brown team, which somehow does exist. I butchered what I was gonna say there for a second. The Sicilians are going to move into to Italy, and they strike across and they take a major city, taking a lot of this boot area. But you might be wondering, why are they attacking Italy? They're not even in an alliance. And number one, I may have just forgotten. I know we're on the alliance later, but I'm kind of stupid. But anyways, because they just want their former land back, and they pretty much have all of it. And well, now they do if they didn't before. And I mean, well, there's still a little land over here and over here to get. But it's fine. Well, the Lime team doesn't know what to do, so they're going to invade the Brown team with the Russians for some reason. Nobody really knows why they're doing this. It's a really bad strategical move by the Lime team as well. Why are you putting troops right here? The Russians are already focusing on that area. You should be putting your troops down there or down over here because, well, the Bulgarians are really close to your capital, and it seems like they might take it in the cup and well soon. And they also start moving in from the southern area. Sorry about that big pause right there, but ooh, ooh, I hate OBS a lot. The Egyptians are going to move in from the Africa. They're going to move in from Africa and start taking a lot of the Sinai Peninsula, even making a really big encirclement of these troops down here. And from here, the blue team is actually going to play their part in this war as they start invading and capturing some land, looking something like this. And they actually started getting a lot of land, as this area was a very unprotected area by the Ottomans. They don't really know why it was unprotected by, because it's just a bunch of desert. But surprisingly, they also managed to even take a lot of their land back from the orange team. However, they can't from the gray team, as they are putting up a very good defense. Over here in Iran, we see that the orange team has been pushing down into the brown, Iranian team. I was about to say Arabian. They pushed down into the Iranian team, and well, they are actually doing pretty good in this war, as they capture a major city, and well, they have a lot of land from a pretty big country. But the Triangle Alliance, they don't want to lose their grip on this area, so they're going to go ahead and recruit another person into this alliance, that being the Gold Team, which is to, of course, counteract this blue country right here, which has been a pretty hostile country in the past. They are a military dictatorship. And they start to regret it, as a lot of their troops don't really want to fight due to the fact that, well, they're a military dictatorship. They're forced to, but morale is very low, as they don't want to. So, yeah. Over here in Asia, we can see that the Koreans have been pushing into the pink team right here. They have captured a major city, and they're really just trying to secure they're just trying to secure their northern parts, as it is very far away from their main portion of land down south. And well, this little invasion right here connects it up better. Apparently, the Japanese hold on, the Korean hold on Japan wasn't too good. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't too good, as we see the brown team taking all of Honshu. I think it's Honshu is the main Japanese island. I could be butchering that. But they take all of that, but they cannot go any farther because of navy. The Koreans have a really good navy in this region. Or the brown team has a really good army in this region. So if the brown team gets a good enough navy, they could probably just steamroll through this whole area. But they can't do that for now. Over here in the blue team, the Chinese are going to be pushing along the border right here. They did once invade into this land. However, this is the second time they're doing it in history, as the capital of the blue team is, it looks like it's going to be taken by Chinese forces once again for the second time in history. And, well, if that does happen, then there'll be a major blow to the blue team in morale. And, well, you could probably be seeing a lot of these provinces over here that was once a part of different countries break away. We'll just have to see. However, the Koreans, that's not the right color. The Koreans will make a push back into the blue country and more into the actual Chinese territory, into this little disconnected part, which is barely even a part of China. It's kind of confusing, but yeah. On this border, there was a whopping 0 troops from the blue team, which was a major mistake, as the green team can really just focus on all of this area right here. And they even meet up with Lake Baikal, taking a lot of land around the sea slash lake, and they capture a lot of land, like I just said. And they actually managed to capture the former capital of a country that was in this area. It was like a pinkish team, but anyways, they captured the former capital of that country, which is the blue team doesn't have good morale anyway. This kind of ruined it by a lot. The green team over here is going to make a push over here for some reason. Nobody really knows why they're doing this, but they are. They're going to make a push into central China, and it actually is going pretty well, as there is no troops defending this territory, unsurprisingly, because why would the South Chinese even be invading this territory anyway? Nobody really knows why they're doing this, and I don't know either. I just want to do something interesting. But I will say the Philippines are definitely getting signs of rebellion. Back over here on the Swedish front, we see that the Russians have pushed back and captured this major city right here. But over here in the south, it isn't going as well, as the Swedish have been taking a lot of land, and they take back all of this finished area right here. And they even start liberating parts of the Swedish puppet state. In fact, they liberate all of it. which is a major blow to the Russians, as they are now getting pushed back near this lake right here. In fact, their invaded territory is completely stripped out of it until they're going to go ahead and retreat to a front line that looks something like this, which is a more defendable front line. But they do a little bit of that, and that is now an easier front line. However, the brown team is just not doing too good in this war, as the Russians have been steamrolling through. Over here in the north, because of Sweden, it is going better for them. However, in the southern regions near the line team, it isn't going as well for some reason. The line team is putting all their effort over here instead of over here, which is a stupid idea, as the Bulgarians are going to go ahead and make a division, which is to take all of the all of the sea ports and all the naval access of the line team. And that division does that such thing as they capture all of this land right here. And that is a major blow to the line team. Bro, that's a major blow to the line team, as it is it's just not looking good for them, as even the brown team is pushing back in these far western areas, and they capture this major city, and they start to enclose onto the lime team. However, they don't fully do it, as it is a hard thing to do. English is just very interesting for me. Back over here on this front line, the brown team is going to push back, especially in this area, and then they retreat to something that looks like this for a more defendable front line. However, the Sicilians they're losing manpower. They don't have much manpower in their country. They used to, and they had Catalonia and Tunisia and then this part of Italy, but they just don't have that anymore, and they don't have the capability to do what they wanted and used to be able to do, which is unfortunate for them. But womp womp. Over here in Yemen, we can see that the Yemenis have completely pushed back the blue team. That was just like a surprise kind of thing, and the Yemenis will be pushing a little bit into the blue team. However, it isn't too much because it is just not. It's not feasible to do it right now, as they have to focus on this if the great team does want to invade into desert, which I don't know why they would want to do that, but maybe they would. Who knows? Well, I know, but yeah. The Ottomans are also going to be pushing back. However, this is not, of course, their major, like, the thing. They want to push back over here to get better naval access, and eventually they do push back the Egyptians, who have been pretty weakened by the Third Great War, I believe that was. Back over here, we see that, well, the Gold Indians or the Pakistanis are doing well, but if you thought they were gonna be winning, you're wrong. Look at this guy right here. This guy, basically, he's not a part of any alliance. He is just going to declare war on the Triangle Alliance, the Diamond Alliance, and the Squish Alliance for some reason. They are the 10th strongest country in the world. However, well, I don't know what I was gonna say, but anyways, they just steamrolled through this country. They take the capital, and that is not good. But the reason they will be able to do this is because of the fact that the gold team had all of their divisions over on this front line and none protecting, well, anywhere else. So the blue team is actually going to be able to push back, and this is basically the end for the gold team, which was a bad distraction, I will say, as they just get sped through. It's just not pretty, and they're completely divided between the North Indian Federation and the Lime Team, and now the North Indian Federation is pushing up against. I don't know why I said the Lime Team, the kind of dark cyan team. Yeah, it's not going well for them as they get pushed back, especially over here in the south. In the north, though, they're actually doing pretty well. They capture more land. Back over here, the Koreans are going to make a full-on push into the pink team, capturing more major cities. However, it's just for no reason, because the thing with the Koreans is that they have a lot of manpower. However, they're not using it as correctly as they probably should be. Same with the South Chinese. They really have never experienced war. As with these guys, they've experienced quite a bit of war, and it has gone well for them every time they've won, or every time they've gotten to a war, they won. So who knows if that trend will continue? However, it probably will, as the Chinese have captured the capital of the blue team, the Blue Mongolians, and well, that happens. And this is mostly just occupied by Korean troops. And where Korea is just gonna go ahead and occupy this whole area for, well, better security purposes. And Korea is just stretching out. In fact, they even make a minor invasion over here into the green team, which that's not good because there's just so many colors, and not so maybe that would be good, but right now it's not good. Manpower decreasing, morale decreasing, and all that type of stuff. Especially because over here, the green team is just steamrolling through. There's like nobody, no soldiers here to really protect any of this western area, and it completely falls over to the green team. This is a major fall to our major bad thing for the cross alliance, as they just lost a lot of their land, and that is not good. And well, clearly these guys don't know what they're doing because even they are getting pushed back by the Chinese, and they have fully gotten pushed back by the Chinese. And well, the Chinese start making a massive invasion of the South Chinese area over here. However, it is actually fairly defended. The Chinese were kind of surprised about this. Over here on the brown team front line, the brown team has completely pushed back the Sicilians. And guess who's made a landing in the pink team? And well, I already clicked on the blue team for its color. Oh, but anyways, yeah, the blue team is going to be taking these two islands, and Sicily is just reduced to well, Sicily, probably Malta, and then this over here, which is the most powerful part. The Sicily isn't as powerful as this Greek area. By the way, I saw a comment saying Greece was basically the Poland, and you're correct. They pretty much are. Coming over here to Egypt, a revolution in southern Egypt picks up speed, and it really isn't good for the Egyptians, as that rebel group is very, very popular with even the northern Egyptians. So when that starts to happen, bad things start to happen because, well, the yellow team is going to try to fight this back. However, the red Egyptians are using stuff that the yellows have never seen before. They're not necessarily superior tactics, however, it is very advanced, and people are wondering how they got this. Somebody probably funded them, let's be honest. And the Egyptians get fully pushed back, and they're going to get fully occupied in 3, 2, 1. Well, yeah, it's the Ottomans. The Ottomans fully occupy the Egyptians, and now they're fighting this rebel group right here for some reason. Nobody really knows why. They should probably just keep peace. However, they're not doing that. The Orange Iranians are going to be complete. They're going to be doing really good as they capture more major cities, and this is like surprising on how well they're doing. They captured more major cities in another country than there are major cities in their own country, which is it's crazy. Over here on this front line, the Lime team has completely been pushed back out of the Brown country. And the Brown country is actually doing pretty good as they start to take a lot more land. They capture another major city and liberate it, and they start taking more land away from Russia. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the military alliances so you can see stuff a little bit better. Over here on the Lime team, though, we see that well, the Orange country has captured the capital of the Lime team, and they are not doing good. And eventually, the Brown team is also going to go ahead and get on this little kind of hype train, and they're gonna take the rest of the Lime team. And of course, the Orange team got the way more beneficial parts. However, I mean, yeah. Over here on this front line, the Ottomans are trying to defend it. However, it isn't going well, and eventually just give it up to the Russians. They don't give it up, but the Russians capture it, and yeah. The pink team is going to push back the Koreans in this central area right here, and they're wondering how they're able to do this, and that's actually because of a pretty interesting thing. It's because the military of this part of the northern part, at least, of the Koreans are going to go ahead and form their own military country, and this is not good because all of the land the Koreans occupied are just gonna go ahead and go back to their respective countries, which, of course, like I said, is not good because now the Koreans don't have a big, they don't even have a big country anymore. In fact, I forgot about this island, but the pink team captures it, and the pink team also starts to push into more parts of Korea over here. And the Koreans, the rest of the remaining part of the Korean military that isn't in the gray team over here, they don't have any morale at all. And the brown team over here finally gets their navy stuff together, and they take all of the Japanese isles. that Korea owns. And the Philippines, what are they gonna do? They're gonna do something a little bit interesting. They're gonna join up with the purple team down here, which I guess is good for them because now they have more military, they have there's a better economy, better everything, and they finally have at least an independent state. And this is a very valuable part of the purple team. In fact, it's the most populated part of the purple team, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Anyways, the green team finally gets their revenge on the blue team, and I guess so does the Chinese. Even though the Chinese, they already went to war with the blue team and won, and well, they're gonna win two times now as they take the rest of the blue team's land. And now the remaining guys are South China and Korea, and both of those countries clearly aren't doing too well, as the South Chinese have lost their capital, and they're just gonna go ahead and surrender over to the Chinese. And this is a very beautiful map right here. And the Chinese start moving into some Korean land and even meet up with the pink team in the center. And then the rest of this will just be taken by the military country. And by the way, the military country doesn't have any beef with these other countries over here, like the pink, green, or Chinese countries. They just have beef with Korea itself. Well, there is a lot of blood loss in this region right over here, and the Swedish are just going to go ahead and do it. They're going to start their invasion of Russia, and they start moving towards a lot of these major cities. And guess what? They are, of course, moving to Moscow, or what would be the equivalent, and they take the city after a very bloody battle. And well, this is not good for the Russians. However, the thing is that well, even though the Swedish are pushing it even more now, the problem with it is that the Russians they're too patriotic, and the Swedish are well, they're showing signs of collapse because they are kicked out of Moscow and eventually kicked out of mainland Russia. Yeah, and they start moving into this area that is not the right color. They start moving into Sweden, well, Swedish occupied Finland, and they start moving and they take all this Kola Peninsula region and then all of the rest of Finland. And this is a very bad thing for the Swedish as they, like I said, are showing signs of collapse. And well, the Holy Norwegian Empire has something they want to say, and that is that well, at least these two countries right here, the yellow Norwegians and the green Norwegians, they have been forming up something which is a pact between the two to unite all of Norway against Sweden. Uh, we'll just have to see what happens with that in the next episode. But for now, let's see the collapse of Sweden, and yes, I will be covering this. So they start moving into Swedish occupied lands, and well, eventually, after taking a lot of land, Sweden is just going to go ahead and surrender to the Russians. However, the Russians don't have anything necessarily like it's not necessarily all good in Russia, as Russia is also showing signs of collapse. Think about it. Crimea and right here. Coming over here to the North Indian Federation, we see that the North Indian Federation is going to continue to swarm through all of these countries, and eventually, the brown team is just going to go ahead and sign peace. The blue team and all these Arabian countries are going to sign peace. And then we see something interesting. We see dark blue rebellions over here in Anatolia, and then we see pink ones over here in this part of Anatolia, which is not good as these are former tribes. Former tribes that the Ottomans invaded that are now wanting their independence. There's another tribe over here that wants independence that also got invaded. Well, it was released by the blue team over here. Well, it wasn't released by the blue team. The blue team had to give it up after the First Great War. But the thing about that is that, yeah, and, well, it's not good when your rebellions start taking a lot of land. And guess what? The Ottomans are also ruling morale, just like the Russians and like the Swedish were. Coming back over here towards Korea, we see Korea has been fully divided between the pink and the Chinese. I think that the Chinese would gain all of southern Korea, but anyways, yeah, there goes Korea, and well, the same thing. There goes the Cross Alliance, except for right here. That goes, of course, to Japan, or I mean, China. the green team is gonna invade Sicily and fully take it. And well, they're now just reduced to Greece, who guess what? They're gonna come back. They rebel. And this is not good for everybody. A bunch of countries just signed peace, including most of the square team alliance, and that includes Bulgaria, Albania, you're part of the Diamond Alliance, but yeah. Like I said, Sweden or Russia's doing morale, and well, the brown team starts taking a lot more land from the Russians that they used to own, and the Russians collapse. As we see the resurgence of the Ukrainians, they are back, and they are back with revenge on their minds. And well, that is about going to do it for this war. There is no clear winner to the war. However, I would say if there had to be one winner, um, probably China. They gained the most land by far. Russia did get a lot of land, but they just collapsed. So we'll just have to see what happens in this peace treaty. Let's go ahead and look at that right now. Wow, that took a long time to make that peace treaty. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty. And yeah. So let's start over here in Asia. So looking at what China gets, China will get all of this land from South China right here, which is a really good claim. And they also get all of Taiwan, which is good for them. And of course, they will get this big, big chunk of the area right here, the blue team, and this red country is looking, well, they're probably not going to exist in the future. And they also get a little bit of land from Korea, which looks something like that, and that is a good amount of land. And yeah, for this green team up here, they're gonna get all of that land, which is a really good claim of land. In fact, I would say it's, yeah, it is really good. They also get some of their former land over here, which is pretty cool. And the rest of this will be formed into that pinkish red country that used to exist. In fact, it was a little bit more pink, more something like that. That isn't technically, well, it doesn't look the same, but it's okay. Also, their capital is in what is now the green team, so they're gonna go ahead and put their capital on the other side of Lake Baikal, being right here, so that's good for them. And also, of course, this capital is gone, but we will be creating a new capital right here. As this gray country is now released, this is the military country of Korea. Anyways, the pink team will get all of that land, and then the rest will go, well, like the rest of North Korea will go to this new yellow nation right here, which is pretty cool. And their capital is going to go ahead and be in the northernmost city they have, so only right here, but I guess that's good enough. That is not the right color. Hold on, I am stupid. I am Japan is going to go ahead, the brown Japanese country is going to get all of this land in this island right here. And going down to the Philippines, like I said earlier, this will go down to Borneo and this basically Indonesian empire. And China is looking big. I don't know if I like this now. Anyways, coming over here to the North Indian Federation, they will get all of this gold team and then all of this land from the Dark Cyan slash just regular Cyan team, which is a lot of land. This North Indian country is becoming a very powerful country. They were already a pretty powerful one, but this proves it even more. But let's go over here to the brown Iranian team. So they will still exist, but the orange team will get all that land, including a couple major cities. The a new a new purplish nation will form up right there, and then the rest of this will, some of this will go to a new reddish nation. Then we can go ahead and take a look at capitals. So the capital of the purple country will be right here, and for the red country it'll be right here. Very inconvenient spots, capitals, but you gotta deal with it. There will be no border change in Egypt. Just know that this is a different government now. Anyways, there is a new Sinai country right here. And the blue team is actually going to get some land back from the Ottomans. In fact, all of their land, plus a little bit up north over here, with a province they gained after the second or third Great War. It's third Great War, I think. Or the second, I'm not sure. This yellow country right here, they are going to go ahead and make a comeback. So good for them. We gotta find their major city. There it is. So we turn that into a gold city. Maybe not that gold, maybe a little lighter. Something like that. And then capitals, we're gonna put like that. So there we go. And now that country exists again. Anyway, let's go up north. So over here we see the emergence of two new familiar, or well, as I said, two new familiar faces, but that doesn't make any sense. They are familiar faces, and well, they will be appearing again. These were the tribes that used to exist in this area, so that is pretty cool. Um, yeah, pretty cool. They also gain Crete, which is cool. Yay. God, hell, it was too close to the capital. A new kind of Caucasian country right here will form up. And then we see a new purplish Iraq nation, Iraq, whatever you want to call it. It is forming up over here in this region. And yeah, so we have two more countries that we need to release, and that include this kind of beige, yellowish one right here, and then this red one right here. And then the Ottomans will still remain, however, barely. Looking at capitals, the capital of the green country will be on the Caspian coast. For Iraq, it will be, hold on, it will be right here. They have a lot of major cities. For the red team, right there. For the beige team, right here. And then for these two countries, one right there and one right there. So two new capitals. Well, oh yeah, this guy too. Can't forget about them. Their capital is gonna be the only major city they have. Yay! Yep, they're back. Greece is back for like the 15th time in history. Basically, Poland. They are, well, yeah, they are pretty much back and they're gone, and then they're back and they're gone. But anyways, their capital will be in Athens, like it has been for the past times it has been alive. This brown country will take all this land, and then the rest will go to the orange team, officially splitting the line team up, and that actually looks pretty nice. But anyways, over here, they're gonna actually lose land. The Prussians are gonna make a comeback. Not all of that. Why? Please tell me why they would gain all of that. Anyways, the Prussians are gonna gain back their independence. There is still a little bit of land from the gold team that they still have to claim. However, it is fine as they got their main territory back. Anyways, Estonia is also gonna make a comeback, so that is pretty nice. They are back in business. They got invaded by the Swedish and the brown team. However, they are back. They're doing what they used to. They're probably gonna stay neutral for a few hundred years until they ultimately get invaded more, which is bad for them. But anyways, a new purple nation will form up over here. If I could click it. Oh, I didn't click the right thing. A new purple nation will form up in the northern Norwegian slash Swedish area. And then over here we can see another new nation forming up. That being, well, not that. That being a pinkish kind of color country. Yeah. And then over here we can see that the two OG countries that united Sweden, the yellow and the dark blue, they are back, and Sweden has just been dismantled, as you can see. Anyways, let's take a look at capitals. So the capital of this Estonian country will be right here. No, it wasn't over there. It was right here, and of course, this city is no longer existing. The capital of Prussia will be right there. The capital of Sweden was actually right there, and we have to rearrange this. Hold on. Okay, so there we go, and these guys' capital will be right over here in this major city. And then for the pink team, it will be right here, and the purple team will be right here. So, these are our new capitals, and we have to take a look at a few more stuff, like the, well, over here in this region. So the blue team will be taking Sardinia and Corsica, while the green team takes all of Tunisia. So the green team is back in business. They're back. They're doing what they're doing. And yeah, so now we have to take a look at the Russian peace treaty. So a new dark cyan nation will be formed up right here. This is more of a dark purplish dark cyan nation, but it's okay. And then a very large blue nation will form up right here out of some parts of Russia. And then we have to take a look at a couple new countries. So, well, this one's not really too new, but the Ukrainians, they're back. their religion has been like ethnically cleansed, and they're not have they had enough of it, so they are back, and they are powerful. Well, not too powerful. I wouldn't imagine them being too powerful, but anyways, a new orange nation will form up right there, and then a purple one will form up right here, and I'm actually going to change the color of the orange one because it just doesn't look right there. I kind of made it a grayish, pinkish kind of red color. But anyways, anyways, if you guys like this video, please subscribe, like, do all that stuff. And then I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.